All right.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode here on Fitness, Food, and Finances. We're trying to help you lay that firm foundation. I've got Andrea Bauer here from Smart and Simple, and we're going to go over the Carnivore Nutrition Challenge. So first thing I want you to know is she's the expert. I'm the idiot. I'm the eye candy. No, she's eye candy too. I'm nothing here but an old guy who actually eats this way. Mostly I jumped on this because Evan picked up a Crohn's diagnosis and he said, Dad, I'm not really interested in having them give me drugs and then eventually cutting out my colon. What can we do differently? And so he found the lion diet, which is super strict carnivore. Now we're kind of backing it out into a stricter carnivore, but there's also ketovore. There's also keto. There's also paleo, there's caveman, there's so many things. So what we're going to try to teach you here in this little conversation and then this challenge or this group session that we've got coming up is how to reduce your carbohydrates, your carbs, your reliance on processed food. And I'm going to tell you that any idiot can do this on your own. Go look it up. It's easy. Just get a MyFitnessPal or MyNet diary and just record everything and then eat less than like 100 carbs a day. But the weird thing is 90% of you won't do it unless Andrea is kicking your ass to do it. So listen to her. I don't usually have a thing to sell you. So if you're on the online community from the Survival Podcast, you know I've been your expert counsel guy for like, I don't know, it's like a year or two now or something. And I don't usually have anything to give you or sell you. But I went to the meetup at Jack's place. And many of you had so many questions that were so real, like easy and basic that I thought, okay, I need to do something for you. So I've partnered up with Andrea with Smart and Simple. They created a carnivore nutrition challenge and they're going to walk you through this. There's two options. The first option is you just sign up and take it like a class. There's some self-paced work. And then every weekend, there'll be a Zoom call that everyone can get on. It's $100. You can sign up. You can get this done. It's 8 weeks long. It'll start January 18th. If you're the type of person that needs extra support, there is their normal way of doing it, which is one-on-one. That's going to be just under $400. Same sort of thing, except you're going to get your own Andrea. If you don't need an Andrea, don't sign up for that. If you don't need us, do it on your own. But here's the thing. You guys won't. So if you do want to do this and you want to speed it up, hire a professional, hire a mentor. We are your mentors. Okay. So Andrea and Rick started Smart and Simple. They also own a CrossFit gym down in Peachtree City, CrossFit Peachtree City, weird, right? And I have used them. My kids have used them. They're an excellent company to work with. They've been doing this for years. So Andrea, if you could for me, after that huge diatribe there, monologue, introduce yourself and the company so that people understand kind of where you're coming from.
Yeah, sure. So Smart and Simple Nutrition was originally born out of a CrossFit gym. We are worldwide right now, and we handle really just trying to get folks on a sustainable, healthy plan that gets them to their overall health and wellness goals. What we see in today's diet is so much inflammation. People come to us and their blood work is terrible. They feel terrible. The inflammation is systemic through their body, and we want to try and help them reduce that. And believe it or not, the carnivore diet is a great way to make that happen. You're really taking out anything that can irritate your body.
Yeah. So actually, yes to all of that. And we're going to dive in deep, like why do this? Again, there are multiple levels. You do not have to go like me and Evan, which you're doing. Like I do 0 carbs. And I'm going to tell you, if you're a CrossFitting person out there doing anything with intensity, training your body to burn fat as the primary fuel is tough. I just went out for a jog, even though I own the gym. Sometimes I can't make it to my own gym, and I just went for a jog. Jogging was totally cool. Doing a sprint on the Rogue Echo bike, even at this, I've been this 5 months in it for me, and I've been 15 years no sugar or bread. Man, it drained me. I was still able to move about the same, but it felt weird and different. So guys, one thing is the health benefits. If you're doing CrossFit, just be aware it's going to feel weird. You're probably still going to move the same, but she's totally right on this one. Evan found this. It was Michaela Peterson started or made it the lion diet. It's basically eat ruminant meat, salt, and water, and that's pretty much it, to decrease all this inflammation and histamine effects. If you've got pain in your joints, Andrea, will this help that?
Absolutely. Yep.
We can't claim it, so maybe anecdotally it's helped my pain in my joints, but I
Yeah,
guess I got to
no,
watch
but
out what
I
I.
mean it bringing down, I mean, less joint pain, swelling, skin issues if you have acne or eczema, taking processed foods, taking foods that have lectins and oxalates that come from plants, out of your diet can definitely bring all of that stuff down. And to address the fat, the Andy, you're very lean, right? You don't have a lot of
Many
body
people say that to me.
fat. You don't have a lot of body fat for your body to use as fuel right now. But not everyone's in your situation, so they may not have to adapt like you are.
True. That's valid. And many people don't. I mean, I own a CrossFit gym, so I have to kind of go do CrossFit a lot. And that is usually it's short, bursty, intense workouts. But guys, I can say this anecdotally from my own story and Evan's story. It's been a game changer weight wise. I know most of you are going to do this because you want to lose weight. Totally fine. That's an awesome reason. If you're going to have knee surgery like Rick just did, one of the best things you can do for yourself is lose some weight because your knees don't want all that weight. Some of you guys won't go get fit because you're overweight. This is a great way to lose weight.
And
Some of
fat, not muscle.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's exactly the point there. So weirdly, and you may think to yourself, you brought up, I got old fashioned pen and paper here. So you brought up a couple things I do want to hit that I don't think are in our notes, but I've been doing this for about 5 months. I did blood work and I just did blood work again. So far, everything is coming back awesome. The thing that you may not know, the one thing they're like, ooh, that might be a problem is my cholesterol is super high. But you want to get the advanced lipid um, scope or test. And what they do is they actually then look at your LDL and say, what does it look like? If it's small, dense particles, like a teenage boy, that's bad. If it's large and buoyant, like ocean foam, that's great. So having LDL is actually okay if it's large and buoyant. So you want them to get to look at that. So yes, my cholesterol is high, but it's full of the best stuff. And when you eat this way, your body uses the fat and the way for as energy, and it uses cholesterol to transport fat to get it to where it needs to go. So of course you're going to have more. So far for me, guys, I can tell you without a doubt, 5 months in, this has been a game changer. Even me at 165 started dropping weight. Finally, I started gaining weight, and I eat like 4,400 calories a day. It's insane how much I can eat because meat and fat are much more nutrient dense. Okay. All right, so you have in here, we just sort of went over this, but any other reasons you guys may be thinking, why should I do a carnivore challenge? Why should I learn to do carnivore? She already gave you a few. Any other ones you want to throw out there?
Yeah, and this one actually is personal too. Improved digestion. So if you have any kind of gut issues or digestive issues, gas or bloating, constipation, any kind of IBS, I actually went through this myself last summer and went carnivore for several months to clear up some, it was something induced IBS, stress induced
Right.
IBS is what the official term was. But it is amazing how good you can feel. You don't even realize you don't feel good until you take this stuff out of your diet.
Yeah.
So,
It's not complicated. Eat less carbs. But it is kind of hard because you're like, what else can I eat? Guys, let me tell you this. So Evan has Crohn's, or at least that's the diagnosis. He didn't want to go down the road of cutting out his colon, so this is what he's done. And on Andrea's point, it's less inflammation inside of him, and he could tell a huge difference. So he's not throwing up and going to the bathroom all the time. I will tell you, for me, don't be like me. This is why I hired Andrea's company to do this, because if it was me, I'd be like, just eat what I eat. And here's all I'm eating right now. Do not be like me. For breakfast, I have chickens out in the backyard because I'm a prepper. I like to have chickens and I want to eat super healthy. So I get my own eggs. It's usually 4 or 5 eggs, and then about somewhere between a half pound and a pound of ground beef that are already pre-ground up. It's ground beef, venison, elk, whatever I can get my hands on. And then about a spool size of goat cheese. I just put that all together and that's breakfast. And then I have either one or two New York strips for lunch. And then I have the exact same thing I had for breakfast for dinner. And I know most of you are like, what? For like 5 months. And I love it. My son hates it, but I love it. Andrea is going to give you ways to do this where you're not as retarded as me. So you can eat better and
but
smarter
we'll
and different.
change it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, again, I'm only doing it so strict because Evan had to. Now Evan is adding a few things, but I may stay like this forever. I love it. Okay, so let me
Okay.
bounce back into some of this. I got a Word document I'm reading off of to help remind me, because if you guys have listened to my podcast, you know I am the master of tangents. So I'm going to try to stay on tangent. So you mentioned it's going to improve digestion. What about blood sugar?
Yeah, so if you struggle like with type 2 diabetes and you know it, this definitely can help keep your blood glucose levels stable. But if you're not sure that you have any kind of insulin resistance or glucose spikes going on, if you're somebody who craves sugar a lot, you do. And this can actually really, really help you bring insulin resistance down, bring you down to nice, steady glucose levels. It's amazing how good you can feel without those spikes.
And hey, those spikes hit you emotionally. I am normally an asshole, and I try not to be. I'm working really hard on that. And for the last 5 months, many people have been like, Andy, in addition to the lean body mass, you're kind of not a dick anymore. I'm like, I know, it's weird. So it does help. Okay, what about mental clarity and focus?
Yeah, so if you're foggy and you have a hard time focusing on things, this will bring all that mental clarity and focus back in. Using fat as fuel really, really does enhance that.
Yeah, well, I think there's like a piece of it that I'm learning as I am like binging on all the podcasts about this stuff. I mean, I've got a when you have a super motivating reason, like, hey, my son may die from this, you will do anything, right? So I've been consuming this stuff. And I am not a doctor. I'm an electrical engineer. So I'm going to say stuff out my ass and y'all are going to have to go look it up. But when you get into this ketosis state, you're releasing some of the stuff like your brain is made up of a lot of cholesterol. Having more cholesterol and more cortisone be delivered up there is a beautiful thing. So while I may not be on speed, I am getting a lot of work
Sure
done.
about that.
I don't know. I've got a lot of energy. It's the coffee. It's Halda roast coffee. It's good stuff. So the mental clarity is awesome. Another one is about when you eat this way, you're going to feel more satiated. Talk about that.
All the time. Yes. So, keeping glucose levels stable and really consuming protein and fat for the majority of your fuel, you are not going to be hungry anymore. And I already addressed the cravings. You're not going to have wonky cravings. Probably take you between 5 and 8 days to get to that craving free spot. But once you do, you don't even think about that stuff anymore. And it's just such a great, your body is just humming along like a well-tuned machine.
Yeah, no, that's right. And so the cravings for Evan are kind of higher. I've been off of sugar and bread for like 15 or so years, so that wasn't that bad for me. For him, he definitely has had learned to punch it in the face with some other like tastes, which is where Andrea is going to come into play. Like you could mix in like cinnamon or something, but you can do different things that are non-carb driven to kind of help you over this. But this is the satiation you get from having meat and fat. It's crazy. I don't have like, oh, I want a snack now. Like sometimes, hey, I'd like a little like sweet thing way back in the day, but I mean, even that's gone. So why does this cause weight loss? What's going on? Like, one, you are going to lose weight, but what's going on and how's this going to happen? And is it immediate? And what can people kind of expect?
So it's different for everyone, okay? But once your body kicks into ketosis and that level is different for everyone. For some, if they do want to take in some carbs, the carb level needs to really be super, super, super low. For others, like you, can be a little bit higher and you're still going to stay in that state. And yes, you will lose fat, which is the beauty of the diet. You're going to protect that lean muscle mass, which, we really definitely want to hold on to. That's the weight that we don't want to lose on the scale. And your body is going to use that fat and burn it as fuel.
Yeah. So, hey guys, at the gym, I know if you're not at the gym, then I can't help you. But if you're at our gym and you're listening to this, like, I want to give it a shot, great. We have a BMI scale and we can put you on there. The trick on these scales are um, you have to be similar every time you step on it. So what I would say is like, don't drink water and coffee coming into the gym, get on the scale and don't do it after being sweaty. You got to do it the same every time and you got to be like dry, but we can get your body mass index and we can tell you what's going on a little bit more accurately than just sort of kind of eyeballing it. Though in this case, eyeballing it is pretty, I mean, you're going to be like, damn, yeah, I can see the change there. Or just like how your clothes fit. Another cool side effect of this that really Evan was going for is this whole thing will help reduce your food sensitivity. Talk a little bit on that one.
Sure. So people have sensitivities to gluten and dairy. Those are the two biggest ones, actually. And they don't even realize that they're having reactions to it. And I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier when I said you don't even realize that you don't feel good. So when you take out anything that can have any kind of reactive cause to our system, it's going to bring down, we talk skin issues, gut issues, joint issues, and just overall that feeling of I feel good
Yeah,
once
that
you've
is
done it
true.
for a
It's
while.
a definitely a new state for you to be in. And I love, okay, so look, you guys know me when I say this, it's the most principle. Most of the time, most of the people are mostly going to feel this way, but everybody's different. So you may be the type of person where it takes the full 8 weeks to really get into the jive. You may be 2 days in. Oh, wow. So everybody's body is
Everyone's
different.
different.
Just be
Yeah.
aware of that one. Okay, so let's say you're like, I'm in, Andy, I'm in, I need the help. I want to do this thing. What kind of like, give me the outline. What are the three things like the app, the plan, the meal plans, and the weekly deep dives? Talk a little bit on those three things that we're going to get out of this.
Sure. So the first thing is once you sign up, we're going to give you instructions. If you don't have access to Andy's gym and you don't have access to an in-body machine,
Yeah,
where
totally fine. You don't need that.
you don't, but we want you to see those numbers too. So we're going to teach you how to measure yourself and how to calculate your body fat percentage on the start and then how to get it in the end. So you can see the difference start to finish. And we'll put all of that stuff into our own nutrition app. And you can track the trends over time. So if you wanted to do it midway point, you could do that too. And then every week, we're going to do a weekly deep dive. And we're going to talk through a lot of the important stuff that goes along with the carnivore challenge. You know, what's week one, what to expect, ketosis, gluconeogenesis, how does the body fuel itself, the way you're eating.
Yeah, we're going to go through these weeks. So hold on to that. I'm going to deep dive you, or at least give you some ample time to talk about each week and kind of what to expect in those.
Okay, so and then
So
in our app, we're going to give you little things every day to read through, to talk through mindset work, right? Because so much of nutrition, whether we're working with a carnivore lifestyle or a different lifestyle, it really comes from here. How we think about food, why we think about food, why we eat, when we eat, how we eat, all of those things. We want you to start registering that up here.
yeah,
So
everything is
you'll
better
get
when you're
little
part of the
reads in the
team.
app. Yeah.
So guys, again, you could do this on your own. It's not rocket science. Eat less carbs. But the vast majority of you, one, don't know what a carb is, and then two, aren't going to do it because you're just going to be like, ah. This is going to, one, put money in the game for you. Hey, I'm going to spend some money to get this thing done, but you're hiring a professional that does this for a living who wants you to be successful and then wants to send you off to be successful on your own for the rest of your life. So she's going to equip you with tools. So yes, eat less carbs. It could be as easy as that. But building the habits, and we're going to talk about it at the bottom, is super important. We're going to go over a couple things. So in week one, you talk about how to carnivore and what to expect. So you kind of like hit those things. In week two, give me a little bit on electrolytes and water.
Yeah, so Hydration is super, super important. And making sure that we keep your electrolytes up. You're not going to be taking in anything in the carnivore diet to really help with that. You know, plants and vegetables and fruits have water. So we're taking those out of the diet. So everybody's going to have to make sure that they drink enough water and get enough electrolytes. Things like, yep, that works.
So I did not know that when I started, and my calves would cramp up. I'm like, what is wrong with me? So went to the different groups, and again, this is me doing it on my own without an expert. I had to Google it and be like, what? Well, actually, it wasn't Google. I'm on Brave, so I braved it, and like, carnivore calf cramping. And immediately it said, you're out of electrolytes, dumbass. You should have had somebody tell you that because I was doing it on my own. So don't do that on your own. Let them tell you. So I got this big glass bottle. I put 1 pack of Element in there, that LMNT, which is electrolyte powder. Yeah. I mean, and then I drink that. It's this one bottle, which is 33.8
Yep.
fluid ounces or 1 quart of water, and then the mixture. And I find that it's like salty enough, but not too salty that I'll drink 3 of these in one day, but it makes me drink more water, and it's great. Guys, you need to have a little bit of extra. The electrolytes are going to be key, especially if you're working out. Now, I will tell you this. Evie and I do adventure races, which is it's like think a triathlon for rednecks. So she and I are rednecking in the woods, running, biking, canoeing, and I'm doing carnivore my whole life, or ketovore, I guess. And now I'm on this carnivore kick. You can do this. I just went out for a 20-minute jog, no problem. You can continue to do the things you want to do. As a matter of fact, the guy who just set the record, I think it was in a triathlon or might have been an endurance race. Anyway, the guy who just ran the fastest time of the super cool thing in that world is carnivore, because fat burns. And if you have fat that's readily available, like that fat process, not like I am fat, you can burn forever. You don't crash. So this stuff is great. Electrolytes are a key part of it. So talk to me a little bit about week 3. We're going to go through weightlifting and movement.
Sure. So, I mean, you want a gym. I come from a gym background, right? Weightlifting is super, super important. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Keeping a muscle-centric body is what's going to help you age well and add to your longevity. So I wanted to make that a part of the challenge, because I just think overall health and wellness, that is such a huge part. Having enough muscle mass, enough functioning muscle mass, not just looking pretty, big old muscle mass, but you want to have it needs to be functional, is super important.
So we got 2 things in the gym that we're looking for. For us, one is we want to be harder to kill, and 2, we want to look good naked. Those are 2 great things. Let's do those things, right? It has been said, I'm stealing this from someone else, muscle is the organ of longevity.
Yes.
When they measure out the people who are living the longest, it's the people who are covering the 5 pillars of health and fitness: how you eat, sleep, move, think, and connect. And move is a part of that. Eat is a part of that, right? There's 3 other parts, but you guys, you need to do this. You need to be moving. Plus, let me tell you this. So I started eating this way with Evan, and I started dropping weight. I'm 165 pounds, 5'8"-ish. I've been shrinking a little bit, so 5'8". I dropped down to 155. I did not have like sunken cheeks. Last time I did this, my dad said, hey, you look like one of the guys at my oncology department. He was going through some prostate cancer stuff. I'm like, okay, this is bad. Let me readjust. So I am eating tons of food, losing weight, but all of a sudden I start, like, my shirts are a bit tighter. I'm like, what's happening? I'm actually now going up in weight a little bit because my tiny little frame is starting to put muscle on because I'm still doing all this CrossFit. So I'm harder to kill and looking good. Well, I don't know if I look good naked. I don't, but you know what I'm saying is, so she is 100% right. You guys want to add this to your repertoire. If you're going to do something awesome for yourself, do the next thing, which is get some muscle on you.
So one of the things that, your sunken face made me think of, the trend these days are weight loss drugs. Semaglutide or tirzepatide. And I actually, it's a tool. It's a tool for some people. We have some clients on it. I would never knock it, but retraining your brain is really important when you're doing that. And what most people, what the masses out there are doing, they're coming up with, they're calling it Ozempic face because they're losing so much weight and they're losing so much muscle mass that they have sunken in eyes and sunken in
Right.
face. It's a classic telltale sign, and that's because of muscle loss.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to keep that in there. So week
Oh.
4, you guys are going to hit obstacles. So we're going to talk about overcoming some obstacles.
Yeah, so listen, the why we eat, part of that is I call food fuel for our body most of the time, but occasionally it's fuel for our soul. And the holidays are coming up, so we're going to be getting together with family members, friends, social gatherings. It's tough when you're on a special diet. It's tough, so we'll talk through that. Retraining your tongue, that's, your tongue is where you very first sense sweet or salty, tangy, spicy, and it's got a little brain of its own, and so we have to retrain it, it's got to learn new habits too. Um, Reading labels. You can't just read the front of anything because I call it marketing genius. They're putting all the good trigger words on the front. You got to flip it over and you've actually got to read the ingredients and the nutritional facts. And then ultimately, right here, right? This is really important. A really big one, and if you're old enough, like Andy and I, to remember the 80s where it went through that whole fat-free craze and fat was
Yeah.
bad for us, man, that was the worst thing we could have ever done for our nutrition. Fat does not make you fat, and we're going to talk through that.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys this, in the 15-ish years of getting off of bread and sugar, that was the biggest thing, is retraining my tongue. I got a podcast all about how to stop consuming sugar, and a lot of it is retraining your tongue to go for different things. That's a huge part of it. And as a matter of fact, weirdly, after 5 months of this diet now, this water bottle, it's literally just water from my house with a element packet. It's the raw one. It's got nothing in it except for salt, potassium, and magnesium. There's no taste, no whatever. My tongue now detects this as almost a little lemony. I'm like, what? It has nothing in it. I've been using this bottle for I change it out every other week, but there's nothing in it. Weirdly, your tongue starts to go, hey, there's no sugar. I don't need that. I actually don't know what's going on my tongue, but I do know this. It's taking some of the sweet things and changing it into other tastes. So I am tasting different things that I guess either they're there microbial, like tiny, or they're not there at all. My tongue's just expressing difference, but it is crazy. And as a guy who eats so much fat, I can tell you, fat doesn't make you fat. Fat makes you PHAT, pretty hot and tempting type of fat. It's that fat. So yeah, eat your fat. All right. So then you get into another pillar for me is in week 5 is sleep.
Yeah, so sleep is super important. In fact, kind of if I had to arrange them, I would say like sleep is really part of the foundation too, because if you don't get enough sleep, everything in your body is off. Everything.
That's
It
right.
affects everything. And it's not just one night of poor sleep can cause you to have cravings, can cause you to have higher cortisol levels, which then in turn causes inflammation, and it's just a whole cascading effect.
So there's a story I heard, and I'm gonna butcher it because that's who I am. But they took some college lacrosse players, and they said, we're gonna keep moving and eating and doing well with that, but we're going to adjust your sleep. We're gonna mess it up, and they'd sleep deprived them for a week. At the end of the week, their biometrics said they were all pre-diabetic, just from the lack of proper sleep. So guys, it's important. Next one is going to be mobility and in your body. Like, how do I be mobile, and why is that important?
Okay, so if we've all seen old people go along and they're all hunched over and, they can't, they just don't have any functional movement. It's because as we age, our tendons start to tighten up and to shrink and Um, we need to keep our bodies mobilized, keep them limber, keep everything elongated. Again, for that quality in our later years, not just length of life, but quality in at 75, 85, 90.
Yeah. If any of you guys have been to an old folks home, you probably noticed the toilets are higher. It's not because it's just the way they build them. It's because old people don't squat well. And so they're like, well, in order to prevent us from having to go help them off the toilet, let's just make them higher. That's horrible. How about we just help people squat better? So mobility is key. There's two more things. I'm going to kind of like breeze through this so I can hit a couple more things and respect your time. But we're going to talk about what you should be feeling now. And then at the end, you did it. What's next? So in between this, each week has a thing. There's going to be a call. Give us an idea roughly of what that call, that Zoom call is going to be like. What are we talking about? I mean, these things obviously, but are we getting into food and like questions and answers and all that?
Yes, yes. So we're gonna deep dive in all those things that we just touched on, and then I always have a Q&A session at the end. But we're also gonna have a group in our app where they can ask questions anytime. So we're gonna post little tidbits of information as the weeks go on, and they can jump in, they can comment, they can ask questions. It's gonna be very interactive.
Awesome. And then, of course, there's habits that we're trying to get you in. We talked about those. Most of you could do this on your own. It's not rocket science. Just don't be an idiot. The problem is most of you won't do it on your own. But I'll tell you this, if you get into an environment or you announce it to the world or you join that club or whatever, in this case, hey, I'm going to pay $100 to get in this virtual class that has a coach and I'm going to walk with them, you are going to make it. So Dave Ramsey has these two things. He talks about getting out of debt. Just bear with me on the illustration. He's got the debt avalanche, which means I take the worst debt that I've got and I try to pay that off and I just get the worst one because it makes the most sense mathematically. 80% of the people who go down that route never finish. On the other side, we have got debt snowball. You take the smallest one and you start with that and then you let it build to the next, build to the next, build to the next. 80% of the people who do the debt snowball finish because they're finding wins. When you have a coach like this, at least in this, you're on the bottom side. So maybe she's up there. I don't know. When you have a coach walking with you in a structured format, you're going to have those wins. You're going to take those steps and you're going to be successful over time. When you have that question or that, I don't know, and you have a group to rely on, it makes it so much easier because you want this to happen, otherwise you wouldn't have signed up. And two, everybody else wants you to be successful, especially the coaches, because then you're like, hey, I went with him, it was pretty good. And we want you to then be able to go on with the rest of your life having this success. You know, you will always have me. If you're in the Survival Podcast community, you can text me, email me. I'll try to answer questions. If you're at our gym, obviously ask me a question. I'm happy to help. Most of the time, you know, my answer is going to be, hey, track your food for 2 weeks and then let's talk. I give that option to everybody. Nobody tracks their food for 2 weeks. You guys just won't do the work by yourself. Lay in a little bit of cash, hire these guys, do the thing. This is going to make you healthier. I promise you. Can I promise that? Can I promise you? I mean, yes, it's the biggest
Yes,
no-brainer in the history
absolutely.
of no-brainers. If you eat better and remove processed foods, you're going to be healthier. I think I can stand by that.
Right. And there's something about unity through shared adversity, right? The whole group of you, you're starting together, you're going
Right.
through it step by step together. You're not in a group where people are at all different stages of their carnivore journey. But at the end too, at the end of the 8 weeks, we're going to talk through, what do you do now? Is carnivore the right lifestyle for you? And if it's not, maybe we can help you figure out what is.
Yeah, and guys, understand there is no like pressure at the end of it. You can do whatever you want. You could use it as a one-time like building thing. Or you could be like me and you're like, I'm all in. This is what I'm going to probably do for the rest of my life. But there are also different stages. You can have carnivore, keto, paleo, caveman. There's all these different ways you could go. The idea, though, is I'm eating less carbs and I'm eating less processed food. And you're going to have these habits that Smart and Simple is going to give you. Andrea and her crew are going to teach you these things so that you can go on about your own day without struggle. So, things I want you to think about. Do I need this? If you intentionally do not wear shoes with laces because you can't get to them, then yes, you need this.
Yeah.
If yeah, if
Yeah.
you can't do a thing because your belly gets in the way, you need this. If you've been told, you're pre-diabetic, this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of no-brainers. Do this thing for 8 weeks. It's going to change. It's going to give you so much more momentum for the rest of your life. You can do it if you're 18. You can do it if you're 80. It doesn't really matter. Now, I will say this. If you're 18, things always go better for you because you're just younger and you have time on your side.
On your side.
Yeah, but okay. So what next? I have got this document. I am going to post it. If you are from my gym or the TSP community, actually anybody could go find this right now. If you go to crossfitgarage.com/TSPC, that's the Survival Podcast. So it's for this group that I'm really doing this and my own gym. You can find links to get you to this sheet that we're talking over. The dates we're going to start is January 18th. It's $100 for the beginning, and then $400 if you want to be one-on-one, so you don't have to do it the normal way with everyone else is going to do. You may be the one that says, look, I know I'm not going to do it unless Andrea is on my ass. Great. Hire her team for you to be one-on-one.
Right. And
they will take care of it.
It's just a personalized plan.
Yeah. So you guys, if you need it, it's there for you. I also have something else coming out for 2025. It's called 60 Easy, which is going to be I guess not complimentary. It's the opposite of complimentary. It's to go against 75 hard. I like the idea of 75 hard, but in practice, that thing is just dumb because you have to streak, and if you miss, you got to start over. Just take easy steps. This is one easy step. Change what you put in your pie hole, right? Change this thing. It's really not hard. You're going to eat anyway. This actually makes it a little bit simpler because you take a lot of that crap out of your day. Go easy on yourself. All right, Andrea, anything else in closing?
Nope. But I really think that even if people join this challenge and they found it really too hard for them and they threw something out in the group, there's a lot of options to help them make it better and still get a ton of health and wellness benefits out of it.
Yeah. So guys, 2025 is coming. Most of you guys blew it in 2020 because there was 2 weeks to shorten the curve. And so here's your chance to finally do that thing that you know you should do. Yes, you should move. Yes, you should get better sleep. Yes, you should have a better mindset. Yes, you could connect with people. But I know 3 times a day at least you're going to put stuff right here in this pie hole. Do something about it. This is a step in that right direction. All right, guys, you know where to find me. Podcast is Fitness, Food, and Finances on YouTube at Andy McCann 42. The gym is CrossFit Garage. You can find us in Woodstock, or we now have an online option. It's called, thank you, Charles, for getting this done. It's now garagefitness.online. So if you go there, you'll find our webpage. I am trying to build out stuff to give you guys. Yeah, I know I'm giving most of it away for free. I don't care. I just want to help people. You got to charge for this because you're going to get experts that are not me and they need to live as well. So they're going to give you their expertise. You're going to exchange some of your survival tool money for the brains in their head and the advice that they're going to give you. Guys, make 2025 the year that you change some stuff around and get a healthier look on life. Time doesn't care. It knows that you're getting feebler every day and it's chasing you down and it wants to take you down. By the time you are 76, half the people you know at 76 are dead. Don't be one of those. Don't be the statistic. When you hit 62 and you trip and fall, you're 30% more likely going to die that year. Don't be that person. Change your life now. Do something favorably for yourself. All right, guys, you know where to find me. Y'all take care.